when a guy has those advantages in boxing skill and speed, and they don't take risks, they are almost impossible to beat. You do not hold, and you are throwing punches. Boxing is hit and don't get hit. Shakur is the best at that. When a great pure boxer is putting on a performance, some people will complain, oh, it's boring because there's no drama. Right. But you have to, I at least, appreciate the fact that he's operating on such a high level that there is no drama. He is in total control. And I just, when you see something like that, I said, you hang it in the Louvre. It's a masterpiece.
Yes. And I said, with that style he fought, it doesn't matter who he fight, he would give them.
The boxing world is about to witness something absolutely special, and most fans have no clue what's really at stake here. We're talking about Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney, a fight that's been brewing behind the scenes with more drama than a soap opera. But here's what nobody's telling you. This isn't just about two undefeated fighters throwing hands. This is about the future of boxing itself, and one of these men is about to have their entire legacy shattered in front of millions of people.
Get on Devin Haney.
No,
and I like Devin Haney.
That's a prime
here's the
example of
difference.
what you're talking about.
Devin Haney boxed beautifully against Norman early and then stopped boxing. He started sitting on a lead, which is running and holding. Right. That's not boxing. Shakur boxed every second of that fight. Shakur, I can't even think of the time where Shakur grabbed Teo and held him. Not one time. Like, maybe it happened.
He actually was being physical inside, but Teo was initiating.
Shakur, here's boxing. Boxing is standing and punching range, right? You move your leg, you use your legs when you got to get out of range. You do not hold, and you are throwing punches. Boxing is hit and don't get hit. Shakur is the best at that.
So 2 points I want to make real quick. One is, yes, you're right, Max. Different than Devin Haney. Shakur, I would say he only did that once. It was like maybe the end of round 9. He did for like 20 seconds.
Max Kellerman just dropped some analysis that's got the entire boxing community buzzing. And honestly, it's about time someone said what we're all thinking. He's calling this potential matchup a high-level chess match rather than your typical slugfest. And he's absolutely right. But here's where it gets interesting. Kellerman is highlighting something that casual fans completely miss. Haney brings this incredible discipline to the ring, with jab control and ring generalship that's reminiscent of the old-school greats. Meanwhile, Stevenson possesses this almost supernatural defensive ability, with timing and counterpunch accuracy that makes elite fighters look like amateurs. What's wild is that both of these skill sets are completely opposite approaches to boxing dominance, which means when they collide, we're going to see something we've never witnessed before.
In a division, it has to be based on merit, who they beat. It must be the resume because they're earning a shot at the title.
Yes.
That is not the same as pound for pound.
Okay.
Pound for pound is what you truly believe in a given moment, right? So, yes, you should have some evidence. It can't just be a hunch.
Right.
But once you have the evidence you think you need, like, for example, that fight.
Come on, man.
It is legitimate for someone to say that they believe that Shakur is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. When I listen to what you say, Shady, what I'm hearing is, look, underneath, I really think Shakur is number one. But because I gotta give credit to Usyk for what he's doing in a bigger division, and you know what? I kind of agree with that. Where are you guys with this?
Okay. I don't agree with that at all. I think Shakur has to do that 2 more times or 3 more times to be considered the face of boxing. I think he had a great performance.
Different conversation, face of boxing and number one pound for pound.
I'm only going off of where I know Shady is headed. I'm kind of punching where I know he's going to be because he really believed that Shakur is the face.
Now here's where the conversation gets absolutely insane. And this is something that should have every boxing fan paying attention. Kellerman is making the bold claim that Shakur Stevenson has already built a resume strong enough to carry the entire boxing spotlight. Think about that for a second. We're talking about world titles, technical mastery, and defensive brilliance that's catching the eye of both casual fans and hardcore purists. But what's really crazy is the timing of this statement. The sport is desperately searching for its next megastar, someone who can fill the void left by Floyd Mayweather's retirement and carry boxing into the mainstream again. And according to Kellerman, Stevenson isn't just a candidate, he's already arrived.
Performance, that this was a Floyd Mayweather-esque performance. What do you take when you hear those comparisons?
It's good to hear. It's good to hear because a lot of people don't realize how great I am. I've been told them this. It's like you got to keep saying it over and over, and it's like, as I'm saying, it's like I'm wasting my breath because it's like people like, no, you know, oh, fight this guy. Oh, you won't do this to Teofimo Lopez. You won't da 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 da. It's a video of like me and when me and Cameron was going back and forth, he said something like, "Oh, take yourself to 140 and fight Teofimo Lopez so he can knock your head off." And now it was like, I did it, and like I said, now people getting to see what I done been.
But wait, it gets even better. Shakur himself just went on record with some of the most confident statements we've heard from a young fighter in years. He's literally saying he doesn't think anyone out there can defeat him, and he's welcoming any challenger willing to test themselves against him. Now, that might sound like typical fighter bravado, but here's the kicker. He's got the skills to back it up. This isn't some unproven prospect talking trash on social media. This is a world champion who's systematically dismantled every opponent put in front of him. And he's doing it with a style that's making veteran fighters scratch their heads in confusion.
So all of these guys, if y'all want me to come to 147, I'm coming in with rehydration clause.
Here's where the technical breakdown gets absolutely fascinating. And this is why hardcore boxing fans are losing their minds over this potential matchup. Stevenson fights as a southpaw with elite reflexes, and timing that border on supernatural. His entire game plan revolves around angles, counters, and distance manipulation that constantly forces opponents to reset their entire approach. Watch his fights closely, and you'll see something remarkable. He's not just defending and countering, he's actually controlling his opponent's offense before they even throw a punch. It's like he's playing a completely different sport than everyone else.
I'm not going up to these guys' weight classes if I'm not planning on going there. So any of y'all want to fight me at 147?
Yeah, rehydration.
10 pounds.
10-pound rehydration.
That
like the IBF rule, basically.
You got to understand, that means on fight night, when we get in the ring, they're going to be 157, maybe 158.
Max.
No bigger than 160 that night.
Right.
I'm cool with that.
So if we could get it like, all right, like the IBF rule, 10-pound rehydration.
Yes, but think about it. If there's no rehydration clause, these guys gonna get it up to 170 pounds.
Yeah, 175.
I'm in the 140s on fight night.
Yeah.
So if I'm 140, they 170. Bro, what am I in here wrestling around?
Meanwhile, Haney represents the complete opposite approach, and that's what makes this matchup so compelling from a tactical standpoint. He's a natural orthodox boxer with a sharp jab that's become his signature weapon, combined with foot placement and defensive clinching that frustrates even the most aggressive opponents. His strategy is all about controlling the center of the ring and dictating pace, essentially forcing his opponents to fight his fight rather than their own. What's brilliant about Haney's approach is that he makes boxing look simple, but he's actually implementing incredibly complex strategies that most fighters can't even recognize, let alone counter.
He fights accomplishments, because now Shakur is a 4-weight world champion. Devin is a 3-weight world champion. Devin was undisputed, but now Shakur is a 2-time lineal champion. So he's a 2-time Ring Magazine winner. 2-time unified champion. If you want to add the ring, as far as with the WBO, he was unified at 130. So he's a 2-time unified champion, 2-time lineal champion. Beat a guy like Teofimo Lopez, who rises to the occasion. Had a close fight with George Kambosos. You can make a claim that he was fighting out of frustration or out of emotion, and that was it. He was in his prime too, Josh Taylor seemed to be drained at 140. Not taking away from Devin, but he was already moving up to 47, they were saying. Lomachenko was a little older and small.
Now let's talk about what really put Stevenson on the map, because this victory changed everything about how the boxing world views him. His commanding win over Teofimo Lopez wasn't just another trophy for his collection. It was a statement that sent shockwaves through the entire sport. We're talking about the WBO and Ring Magazine junior welterweight titles on the line, and Stevenson didn't just win, he dominated from the opening bell to the final second. But here's what makes that victory so significant. Lopez was considered one of the most dangerous fighters in the division, a guy who had knocked out bigger names and was expected to give Stevenson serious problems.
Masterpiece, man. He looked so smooth, calm, and relaxed, man. That was beautiful. That was the one boxing lesson that you future guys, young guys and amateurs just turning pro, watch that, man. That was beautiful. You heard his father say in the corner, "What happened to your fast hands? That didn't work, man."
just overall, like, just given the styles and in boxing so well, like, was there any way that Tio could have put on a better performance, a better plan, and gotten a better result?
No, I don't think whatever he would have brought to the table would have worked, man. Shakur just got a great boxing mind. That's just it. He's got a great boxing mind, and once he put his mind to it, he's gonna get the job done.
What is it gonna take to beat someone like him?
I don't know, Brian. Probably want to stay away from him.
The statistics from that fight tell a story that's even more impressive than what we saw with our own eyes. Stevenson didn't just edge out a close decision. He landed far more punches overall and connected more effectively with both jabs and power shots throughout every single round. What's crazy is how he made it look effortless while completely shutting down Lopez's offense. This wasn't a lucky performance or a good night at the office. This was a masterclass in boxing technique that had veteran trainers rewinding footage just to understand how he was doing it.
I think, so 109 with scorecard, so basically like 11 rounds to 1. What did you think about the outcome and the fact that he was able to win so dominantly?
One, shout out to New York. The true Bruce Carrington, he's world champion now. I'm so proud of him.
Fact.
Been watching him fight the undercard and all this stuff forever, and then the world champion tonight. I was bawling, I was crying, yo. So shout out to him. He shine every time he come out to see his story, see how much he done overcame everything. Now he get his 12th round knockout, looking good against Jermaine Ortiz. Wonderful. Now we got the main event with Shakur, and I knew that was gonna happen. Everybody be talking all that rah-rah to me. I know boxing, and like I told y'all, we was gonna see a little bit of athleticism, but we was gonna see Shakur be using his jab, going to the body, and we saw blood today. Shakur did great today. Only thing I can ask for is stopping. I can't ask for.
But here's where things get really interesting, and this revelation changes everything about how we should view the potential Haney versus Stevenson fight. Floyd Mayweather recently commented on a past sparring session between these two fighters, and his insights are absolutely mind-blowing. According to Floyd, their sparring was highly competitive and showcased elite talent that had everyone in the gym stopping what they were doing to watch. He specifically noted the pace, sharp technique, and focus both fighters displayed, praising their composure and skill in a way that he rarely does for active fighters.
Crazy numbers. It's going to be hard to break my record because you have so many people stealing. So many people stealing.
Streaming, yeah.
Yeah, streaming. It's still stealing. If they're not paying for it and they're getting it free, it's stealing.
What's even more revealing is that their sparring demonstrated something that nobody expected. These two possess completely equal skill levels. We're talking about powerful exchanges and matching each other shot for shot in a way that left even Mayweather impressed. Think about that for a moment. Floyd Mayweather, arguably the greatest defensive fighter of all time, watched these two go at it and came away saying they were evenly matched. That means when they finally meet in an official bout, we're not going to see a one-sided beatdown. We're going to witness a war between two fighters at the absolute peak of their abilities. Now here's where Stevenson's mindset becomes absolutely crucial to understanding why this fight needs to happen. He's made it crystal clear that he's prepared to fight any opponent willing to step forward and challenge him, and he's actively rejecting the idea that he's avoiding tough matchups. But this isn't just typical fighter talk. He's repeatedly calling for major bouts to prove his standing in the sport, and he's doing it with a confidence that comes from knowing he has the skills to back up every word. What's remarkable is how he's framing his entire career around seeking meaningful challenges rather than protecting his record. He wants the biggest fights possible and views every potential opponent as an opportunity to demonstrate his talent and solidify his reputation among boxing's top names.
That make more sense. I'm like, nah, he just keeps saying my name to the public. This is the fight that people want to see. My fan base, they want to see this fight. I put the fight together. 2 days before the fight, now he's sick. He poisoned, somebody massaged him, and did something to him. I don't know, all this shit that he kept talking about, but I'm just like showing y'all like what type of person I am. I be bugging like, but I know my wrongs. Like I understand. That's why now I gotta like understand it's a business and not just get talked into doing.
Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather dropped some comments that have everyone talking. And honestly, they reveal something important about how sparring translates to real fights. He pushed back against claims that Devin's sparring performances automatically proved his greatness, arguing that success in the gym doesn't guarantee victory under the bright lights on fight night. Floyd sarcastically congratulated Bill Haney for having an undefeated fighter in the gym, but stressed that true champions prove themselves when everything is on the line. What's interesting is how quickly this discussion became personal, with both men trading sharp comments about careers and reputations, which tells us there's way more tension behind the scenes than most people realize.
So you popping it, so nigga, when I pop it, what's the problem? Because other niggas don't pop it? You know what I'm saying? You pop it 1,000 times. Nigga, you was talking about that sparring shit. Nigga, you beat niggas up in sparring. I didn't watch you beat niggas up. And when my son got down on you, you dig what I'm saying? You act like, you tell us, Bill,
Bill, if your son is undefeated in the gym, congratulations. Congratulations that you got an undefeated fighter in the gym.
But here's where the business side gets absolutely wild, and this is why fans are frustrated that this fight hasn't happened yet. Devin Haney has repeatedly argued that Shakur Stevenson made a costly mistake by declining their proposed fight over financial terms. According to Haney, he offered Stevenson a 25% split, and despite being the smaller share, the actual payout would have been larger than all of Stevenson's previous earnings combined. Think about that for a second. We're talking about a payday that could have set Stevenson up financially, while also giving him the chance to secure legacy-defining recognition in the lightweight division. Haney's argument is that accepting the bout would have elevated Stevenson's profile immediately by placing him in a high-stakes championship showdown that would have drawn massive attention from fans and media alike.
Shakur's resume, and look at my resume. Who's brought the tougher opposition, me or him? The 25% would have been, bigger than all his fights put together he made.
All put together?
Put together.
Were you shocked that he said no?
Yeah, ego, made him say no. His ego and the people around him. Kambosos offered me the 22% and the 2 fights to go to Australia and to go sign with a different promoter and to, get the vaccine and go do this and do that. Now that I'm the champion and I'm giving somebody the offer to make more money than they ever made in their life, put together in all their fights, I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy. See, when I fought Kambosos, it wasn't for all the money. I was fighting for the same money that I was already making. I know that I could beat him. I know that once I win, I'm gonna be able to call the shots and make all the money myself. So now it's that time, and they don't want.
Sean Porter just weighed in on this potential matchup, and his analysis is spot on about why this fight would be special. He views Stevenson versus Haney as one of the most competitive matchups that could be made in boxing today, and honestly, he's not wrong. According to Porter, both fighters bring exceptional speed, precision, and ring intelligence that makes choosing a favorite extremely difficult. But here's what's brilliant about his breakdown. He explains that neither man relies on raw power, instead depending on timing, positioning, and anticipation. He's comparing the bout to a fast-paced chess match where every move must be calculated, because one small mistake could instantly cost a round or even the entire fight.
Beating Shakur Stevenson.
Right?
I really don't know who I see beating him.
It's good.
The thing with that is it's an amazing fight because both guys are very quick, very intuitive, and very fast and sharp. I do lean with, I'm not even gonna pick a winner in that because this is my first time playing it in my head and I just see it's just so back and forth. And it's that fast chess that we always talk about. And it's that fast chess, which it's gonna be slick.
What wins a fast chess match? What makes a difference?
Who's fastest? Yeah. Honestly, it's who's fastest, and it's also not just who's fastest with the hands, but also mentally to make that setup in that second move. Both guys have the ability.
What makes Porter's analysis so compelling is how he breaks down the tactical elements that casual fans might miss. Each fighter has the ability to create openings through feints, footwork, and angles, meaning the momentum could shift repeatedly throughout the fight. He believes fans would see constant tactical adjustments, with both boxers testing reactions and countering strategies as the rounds progress. This wouldn't be about who throws more punches. It would be about who thinks faster and reacts first in critical moments. The result would be a tense, dramatic contest that keeps viewers fully engaged from the opening bell to the final decision.
Fight really is just a matter of who's able to set up and capitalize the fastest. That's a fantastic fight.
You think we see it?
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, but do you think? I think so. I think we get it at maybe 140.
I'm not rushing that fight, and I don't think we get it at 140. I think if we get it at 135.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Shakur. Maybe Shakur's got, I don't know, maybe a couple fights, if not less than that, at 130. And then I think a blessing for us would be Shakur going after fighters, not going after belts, not going after a championship title, but going after belts, going after fighters. If he decides to go after fighters because it's getting him everything that he really did turn pro.
According to boxing experts across the board, Shakur Stevenson separates himself from most fighters of his generation in ways that are becoming impossible to ignore. They're emphasizing his exceptional ring intelligence, natural athletic ability, and his capacity to adjust strategy mid-fight in ways that leave opponents completely confused. Andre Ward describes him as a blank canvas, meaning Stevenson can shape any style or approach he chooses through creativity, composure, and sharp decision-making, even under the most intense pressure. What's remarkable is how his footwork, distance management, and tactical flexibility consistently allow him to outclass high-level opponents who come in with solid game plans, only to find themselves fighting Stevenson's fight instead of their own.
Dude, man, you know, there's always room for improvement. You know, I think he had a lot of stuff he could have did, but he's so talented and gifted, man, you know. You also got to trust what he's seeing in there. You know, we're on the outside, you know. But I think he put on a tremendous performance, and obviously, you know, the level he's at, you always look for things he could do better, you know.
What did you see from the outside that he made?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, like I think it was a lot of body work and stuff like that he could have touched on, but again, he's in there, you know, so he's seeing stuff, he's feeling the punches. We not, so you got to trust what he's seeing.
Teofimo just couldn't get going.
He put on he tried to get going. He just wasn't allowed to. So it's just the distance and range that Shakur has just perfected throughout the years, and then making him pay when he does that discourages him to not want to punch anymore. And I think he was out of answers in the first round. Honestly, I think he didn't really have any answers. When Tio starts doing little certain things with his hands and starts playing the clown game, he out of answers. He's down to just one shot. So Shakur just stayed focused, stayed locked in. And, you know, was at 4 divisions now, 26, 30, 35, 40.
But here's where the praise gets absolutely insane, and this comparison is going to blow your mind. Max Kellerman is claiming that Shakur Stevenson is as good as Alexander Usyk in pure boxing skill. Let that sink in for a moment. We're talking about comparing Stevenson to the undisputed heavyweight champion who dismantled Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Kellerman's argument is that while Usyk's pound-for-pound status comes from his achievements against naturally bigger heavyweights, Shakur earns recognition through his precision, timing, and control inside the ring. The panel highlighted Shakur's ability to manage distance, control the center of the ring, and dictate every aspect of the fight in ways that leave elite opponents like Lopez completely unable to implement their strategies. Unlike fighters who rely on power or aggression, Shakur showcases the art of hit and don't get hit, a hallmark of historically great boxers like Floyd Mayweather and Pernell Whitaker.
Fighter.
Right, so that was competitive fights, right? He won, it was competitive fights. When you watch Shakur with Tio,
it was a shutout.
It was a shutout.
It was two different classes.
There was nothing competitive about that.
Wait, I want Mike.
Yes.
Get in here because I have something to say about this fight.
Yeah, look, I was about to actually agree with Shady for once.
Should.
I don't think it's crazy to have Shakur number 2. He looked that good. And I want to say, right, I've been critical of Shakur in the past because I don't like when fighters are not engaging. Look, Max, you and I both love that classical boxing style. And what he did on Saturday is the style I love. He was not running. He was standing his ground. He was boxing, moving, using his jab. Beautiful check hook off the jab. That's the kind of fighting I like to see and the kind of boxing I like. We're not going to get crazy on Usyk, though.
But
Usyk was a man at 200 that beat up 270 pounds.
He's not getting crazy. He's giving what he's saying is whatever what he is saying, and I agree with Shady here, is his suspicion is Shakur's actually number one, but he won't give it to him.
So here's where we stand. And honestly, this situation is getting ridiculous. We have two undefeated fighters at the peak of their abilities, with experts comparing them to all-time greats and Floyd Mayweather himself saying their sparring was elite-level competition. The business side is messy, with both camps pointing fingers about who's avoiding who. But the bottom line is simple: boxing fans are being robbed of what could be the fight of the decade. This isn't just about titles or rankings anymore. This is about legacy, about who represents the future of the sport, and about settling a debate that's been brewing in gyms and on social media for months. The real question isn't whether this fight should happen, it's whether boxing politics will continue to prevent fans from seeing what could be an absolute masterpiece. So drop your predictions in the comments. Do you think Haney's jab and ring control are enough, or would Shakur's defense and counter-punching take over the fight? If this breakdown opened your eyes to what's really at stake here, smash that like button, subscribe for more boxing analysis that cuts through the noise, and hit the notification bell because this story is far from over. I'll see you in the next one. What makes this whole situation even more frustrating is the timing element that nobody's talking about, and this could completely change the landscape of boxing if we don't get this fight soon. Both Stevenson and Haney are entering their absolute prime years, where experience meets physical peak performance. But here's the kicker: the boxing world has a terrible habit of letting these dream matchups slip away while promoters play politics and fighters chase easier paydays. We've seen it happen with countless legendary potential fights that never materialized because everyone waited too long. The scary reality is that one injury, one upset loss, or one bad business decision could completely derail this matchup forever, leaving fans wondering what could have been for the next 20 years. The psychological aspect of this potential fight is absolutely fascinating, and it's something that could determine the outcome before they even touch gloves. Stevenson has been operating with this quiet confidence that borders on arrogance, systematically breaking down opponents while making it look effortless. His mental game is built around the belief that he's already solved boxing at the highest level. But Haney brings a different type of psychological warfare. He's the type of fighter who gets in your head through pure technical pressure and relentless execution. He doesn't try to intimidate you with trash talk or flashy knockouts. Instead, he slowly suffocates your game plan until you're fighting his fight without even realizing how it happened. When these two mindsets collide, we're going to see which approach breaks first under championship-level pressure. Here's where the style matchup becomes absolutely electric, and this is why veteran trainers are calling this the most intriguing puzzle in boxing today. Stevenson's southpaw stance creates natural angles that give orthodox fighters nightmares, but Haney has consistently shown the ability to neutralize southpaw advantages through superior footwork and jab placement. What's wild is that both fighters excel at making their opponents uncomfortable, but they do it in completely opposite ways. Stevenson uses movement and timing to make you miss, and then punishes your mistakes. Haney uses pressure and positioning to eliminate your options until you're forced into bad decisions. The result would be a tactical chess match, where both fighters are simultaneously trying to impose their will while adapting to counters they've never faced before. But let's talk about something that's flying completely under the radar, and this could be the deciding factor that determines who wins this fight. Conditioning and championship rounds are going to be absolutely crucial because both fighters rely on precision and timing rather than raw power. Canelo has shown incredible ability to maintain his defensive reflexes and counterpunching accuracy deep into fights, even when opponents are desperately trying to break him down. Meanwhile, Alvarez's jab stays sharp, and his footwork remains crisp even in the later rounds when most fighters start to fade. What's interesting is that both men have built their entire fighting identity around being better prepared than their opponents, which means we could see a situation where the fight actually gets more intense as it progresses, with both fighters raising their level when they realize they're facing someone who won't break under pressure. The financial implications of this fight are absolutely staggering, and honestly, both fighters are leaving millions on the table by not making this happen immediately. We're talking about a matchup that could easily generate pay-per-view numbers that rival any fight not involving Canelo Alvarez or Gervonta Davis. The demographics are perfect. You have Stevenson's growing fanbase that appreciates technical brilliance, combined with Haney's supporters who love his old-school approach to boxing fundamentals. Plus, the undefeated versus undefeated narrative writes itself for casual fans who might not follow boxing regularly, but tune in for big events. The winner of this fight wouldn't just get a victory on their record. They'd position themselves as the clear #1 draw in their division, and potentially set themselves up for even bigger paydays against established stars like Ryan Garcia or Tank Davis. What's really crazy is how this fight would impact the entire boxing landscape beyond just these two fighters, and the ripple effects would be felt for years. The winner immediately becomes the most sought-after name in the lightweight and junior welterweight divisions, with every major promoter trying to secure their signature for mega fights. But more importantly, this bout would establish a new template for what boxing fans expect from elite-level matchups. We're talking about technical excellence, undefeated records, and genuine competitive balance, everything that makes boxing beautiful when it's done right. The success of this fight could encourage other top fighters to take similar risks instead of cherry-picking opponents or waiting for guaranteed wins. Here's something that's been bothering me about this whole situation, and it reveals a bigger problem with modern boxing that needs to be addressed. Both Stevenson and Haney have been calling each other out publicly, generating genuine interest from hardcore fans and casual viewers alike. The demand for this fight is absolutely real, with social media buzzing every time either fighter's name gets mentioned. Yet somehow, we're still stuck in this endless cycle of negotiations, accusations, and finger-pointing that prevents the fight from actually happening. This is exactly the type of situation that drives fans away from boxing and toward other combat sports like MMA, where the best fighters actually compete against each other on a regular basis. The sport can't afford to keep disappointing fans who are genuinely excited about specific matchups. The training camp dynamics for this fight would be absolutely fascinating to follow, and honestly, both fighters would need to completely reinvent their preparation strategies. Would need to drill against orthodox pressure fighters who can match his hand speed and ring intelligence, which is incredibly difficult to simulate in sparring. Finding training partners who can replicate Haney's jab timing and defensive positioning would require bringing in specialists from across the country. Meanwhile, Stevenson would face the challenge of preparing for a southpaw who doesn't fight like any southpaw he's faced before. Haney movement patterns, counterpunching angles, and defensive timing are so unique that Haney's team would need to get creative with their sparring selections and tactical preparation. Both camps would essentially be preparing for styles they've never encountered at this level of execution. The judging and scoring of this fight presents another fascinating element that could determine the outcome, and this is where things get really interesting from a technical standpoint. Stevenson's style often produces rounds that are close on the scorecards because his defensive brilliance can make it difficult for judges to see clear, decisive moments. His victories come through accumulation, landing clean shots while making opponents miss, controlling distance, and winning exchanges through superior timing. Haney's, on the other hand, tends to win rounds more obviously through jab control, ring generalship, and sustained pressure that's easier for judges to recognize and score. This stylistic difference means that even if the actual action is competitive, the scorecards might not reflect how close the fight really is, which could lead to controversy depending on which fighter's style the judges favor. What absolutely blows my mind is how both fighters have been developing their skills at exactly the same pace, almost like they're mirror images of each other's evolution as boxers. Haney has been adding more offensive output to complement his defensive mastery, showing improved combination punching and sustained pressure in recent fights. Meanwhile, Haney has been sharpening his counter-punching and defensive reactions to go along with his already elite jab and footwork. They're both becoming more complete fighters at the exact same time, which means this fight would showcase both men at their absolute peak abilities. We wouldn't be seeing a veteran fighter against a rising prospect, or an aging champion trying to hold off a hungry challenger. This would be two fighters in their prime, with fully developed skill sets, meeting at the perfect moment in their careers. The international appeal of this matchup is something that promoters are definitely considering, and it could open up markets that boxing hasn't fully tapped into yet. Stevenson's flashy defensive style and highlight reel counter punches translate perfectly to international audiences who appreciate technical brilliance over raw aggression. Haney's fundamental approach and ring control appeal to traditional boxing markets that value old-school skills and tactical intelligence. Together, they could create a global event that introduces new fans to elite-level boxing while satisfying hardcore enthusiasts who have been waiting for this level of competition. The winner would instantly become a worldwide name with the type of recognition that leads to massive opportunities in Europe, Asia, and other major boxing markets. So here's my final take on this entire situation. And honestly, it's time for everyone involved to stop making excuses and start making this fight happen. We have two undefeated champions in their prime, with completely contrasting styles that would create boxing magic. We have experts comparing them to all-time greats, fans demanding the matchup on social media, and financial projections that would benefit everyone involved. The only thing standing between us and what could be a legendary fight is the same old politics and ego battles that have been holding boxing back for decades. Both Stevenson and Haney have the skills to be remembered as all-time greats, but legacies aren't built by talking about fights that should happen. They're built by actually stepping in the ring and proving who's the best when everything is on the line. This fight needs to happen in 2024, and if it doesn't, both fighters will have missed the opportunity of a lifetime to cement their place in boxing history.